It would be thought a hard government that should tax its people 1/10 part of their time to be employed in its service. But idleness taxes many of us much more. Sloth, by bringing on diseases, absolutely shortens life. Sloth, like rust, consumes faster than labor wears, while the use key is always bright, as Poor Richard says. We all know how important exercise is, yet how much do we disregard it? So often putting it off until tomorrow, and still never seeming to get to it when tomorrow becomes today. No one takes health for granted more than a healthy person. Just ask the sick. Our good health and longevity is more fragile than we think. Yet how can we truly appreciate this? Let us look to others for an answer. And what of this labor making keys bright? Simply activity keeps something useful and vibrant, whether it is inanimate or an organism. Without activity and maintenance, erosion or breakdown are sure to transpire, and what might have been useful is lost. Your exercise to learn this teaching is to write the names of 3 people who, because of sloth, became sick and died. This is not an exercise in morbidity, but of vitality. The purpose is to get you moving so it does not happen to you. The people do not have to be known to you personally. Then write 3 things that were once vital and useful, but because of inactivity became useless. But dost thou love life? Then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of, as Poor Richard says. People value all sorts of things: love, freedom, money, land, etc. But what is the most valuable thing of all? It is the thing that with you can have and be anything at all. Suffer and heal. Live and love. Achieve any goal. Yes. And experience the world. This thing is time. With time, there is nothing that cannot be done. And without it, what is even left? Time is the most valuable asset every person has, whether they be rich or poor, and it's running out for everyone. One day you will be out of it. Do not waste it. Firstly, we must be sure you love life, so this advice will not fall on deaf ears. Write 3 things you've done that show you love life. 2, people change. Perhaps you loved life before, but not now. Write 3 things you are doing now that shows you love life. 3, if you had some trouble with the previous questions, do not fret. Love of life can be yours. Write 3 things you could do now that would show you love life. How much more than is necessary do we spend in sleep, forgetting that the sleeping fox catches no poultry, and that there'll be sleeping enough in the grave, as Poor Richard says. A healthy amount of sleep is 8 hours per day. Even if you do this, 1/3 of your life would have been spent sleeping. This should be your maximum. What if you had extra time in a day? Yes, the magical extra time that is oft talked about. You might be hard pressed to find some in the other 16 hours, but what if you shaved off just 15 minutes from your 8-hour sleep? That is an extra 105 minutes per week to use for some positive purpose. That adds up to 5,460 minutes a year, or 90 hours. What could you do with 90 hours over the course of a year? Do it! If your well-being suffers for it, do not give up, but try another increment. 10 minutes. That's 70 minutes extra a week, and it adds up. 1. How much are you sleeping now? 2. How much are you willing to shave off in order to create extra time? If time be of all things the most precious, wasting time must be, as Poor Richard says, the greatest prodigality, since, as he elsewhere tells us, lost time is never found again. This is an emphasis. Simply the greatest asset anyone has, be they the richest or poorest, is time. With it you can literally do anything. Inversely, the greatest and most permanent waste is that of time. Most people do not really appreciate this until they are too old and too late. Your exercise to learn this teaching is to write 3 things you wanted but never started, and time has run out to do it. It is no longer doable. 2. Then write 3 things that you want to do that you still have time for. And what we call time enough always proves little enough. Let us then up and be doing, and doing to the purpose. Have you heard elders say, "Oh, to be young again"? It isn't just to regain the vitality of youth. It is also to have all that time again when it can be used to achieve something. Consider all the things you would like to do. How much time would it take to do these things? The rule of thumb is that it will take twice as long as we project. There is never enough time, and we always run out of it. Write 3 things that you started but realized there was not enough time to do it and stopped. Write 3 things that you will begin soon, realizing that starting very soon greatly increases the chance of success. So by diligence shall we do more with less perplexity. Nothing brings clarity like progress. Certainly there is much to be said about planning, but in a nutshell, action is everything. If you do not know how to do something, start doing it, and soon enough you will. This includes simple tasks and objectives. Simple proactivity eliminates confusion. Simple proactivity eliminates confusion. Write 3 things that you were unsure of what to do, so never started it or continued. 2. Write 3 things that you are unsure of what to do now, knowing that this principle will change that once you are diligent in its regard. Sloth makes all things difficult, but industry all easy. Just as in the previous teaching, one often has a preconceived notion about something, and so never starts it or puts insufficient effort in it. Purposeful change comes from deliberately acting differently. The paradox is laziness makes things harder, not easier. Write 3 things that you wanted to do, but thought it would take too much effort, so never started or continued with. 2. Write 3 things that you want to do, but think it might take too much effort, but now, in reconsideration, are becoming willing to do it. And he that riseth late must trot all day, and shall scarce overtake his business at night. More often than not, running late or just being behind on affairs stems from the late start. The beginning sets the tone, and wish as we might, there is only ever 24 hours in a day. What's more is that because we rush to catch up, we often do a poor job. Write 3 times you had much to do in a day, but got up late and you did not accomplish the goals of the day. 2. What might be the ideal time for you to rise in order to get your daily work done? While laziness travels so slowly that poverty soon overtakes him, nothing rewards as little as laziness. Indeed, if you were a genius and devised the greatest plan imaginable to create wealth, but were too lazy to implement it, it would be better for you to be an idiot and live in blissful simplicity. The regret, shame, and guilt a person feels for not doing their best is only amplified by the lack of wealth that accompanies. The only vehicle that can take you from where you are to where you want to be is action. The more consistent it is, the better. Who are 3 people who had or have great intelligence or talent, yet because of their laziness live poorly? They need not be known to you personally. 2. What is more important, laziness or consistent effort so that you'll be rich? Drive thy business. Let not that drive thee. People own business for all sorts of reasons. Dare I say not a one so that they can be its slave. Yet that is the case for so many. Certainly, business demands a high price, but the reward is worth it. It should never be a slavery. And if it is, then there be mismanagement also at work. Take charge and act with authority and diligence, and you will remain the driver. Who are 3 people, and you may be one, who have had a business, and perhaps still, but the business owns them instead of the other way around? 2. What could they or you do so as to change or prevent this? And finally, I heard this one has become famous. And early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, as Poor Richard says. This may seem obsolete in the modern age, and perhaps it is. However, there are still dynamics at work that underlie which are most important. This is discipline and sacrifice. Do what others won't do, and you can have what others do not have. There also an important point about early rising. It begs that you do something, and doing something is most important. Health and wisdom are beckoned automatically because it is most natural for a man to rise with the sun and have the fullest day. 1. Who are 3 people that are early risers who have businesses that have the kind of life that you would like? 2. If you could have your life exactly as you would want it in terms of bedtime and rising time, what other, and the major activities between, what would it look like? 3. What is stopping you from having this? Thank you.